Hi everyone, my name is Maria, and today I'm going to be talking about the cell membrane polarization. So to understand cell membrane polarization, we have to understand the action potential of the cell membrane. So to start off, a cell membrane is usually electrically charged or polarized, so that the inside of the membrane is negatively charged with respect to the outside. So the outside would be the positive. This is important in the action potential, which has to do with the impulses in neurons and muscle fibers. So the distribution of ions, if we look back at this picture, we see that potassium ions, which are positive, are major in the intracellular part. So right about here, that's where they're found the most. We also have sodium ions. These are also positive, and these will be found majorly in the extracellular fluid, so right about here. We do have the sodium-potassium pump, and this pump actually transports sodium ions out of the cell and potassium ions into the cell. We also have ion channels, which are formed by membrane proteins which help regulate passage of specific ions in or out of the cell. This distribution is largely created by the sodium-potassium pump, like I said before, but also by ion channels in cell membranes. So the structure of a cell membrane, it is an amphipathic molecule, which means that it has both a hydrophilic and a hydrophobic region. So a hydrophilic molecule is one that is attracted to water, so it likes water. As you can see here, the phosphate head of the phospholipid bilayer of a cell membrane is the hydrophilic part, and that's the part that would actually attack or attract the water molecules. It is also composed of a hydrophobic molecule, which is right here. That's the lipid or the fatty acid part. Hydrophobic means it doesn't like water, so it repels the water. So the tail, which is composed of lipids, and it consists of saturated fatty acids, um, it doesn't like water, so it'll repel the water. So this is what makes the structure of a cell membrane be amphipathic. And here's just another picture of the cell membrane and the phospholipid bilayers. So we have the little heads that like the water and the little tails that don't like the water. So transporting across the cell membrane has the ability to regulate the concentration of substances inside the cell, and most of the time, if not all the time, this is talking about the calcium or potassium or sodium levels of the cell. During active transport, ATP is actually required to move substances across a membrane, and this is often with the help of protein carriers that will usually go against the concentration gradient. The sodium-potassium pump, which is what we talked about earlier, that transports sodium out of the cell while moving potassium into the cell. So the sodium-potassium pump is really an important pump because it is found in the membranes of many types of cells. These pumps are particularly abundant in the nerve cells, which are constantly pumping out sodium ions and pulling in potassium ions to maintain the balance across the cell membranes. And here's just another picture of the sodium-potassium pump. As you can see, these little yellow ovals would be the potassium, and the little orange ones, those would be the sodium. And these are the pumps right here. We have our phospholipid bilayer, and so it'll take the potassium, and it is powered by ATP also.